If you lock yourself into a mirror and just stare into your own eyes in the mirror, you are not looking at yourself. That is not you. That's an actual being on the other end of that world that's mimicking you. All right, and this is a powerful thing that must be known and must be understood completely. All right, that when you are looking into a mirror, you are looking at fallen entities that are mimicking you. All right, and the elites will never tell you that. The oppressors will never tell you that. This is why they got a mirror in every house, just like they got a goddamn TV in every house. They all go hand in hand. All right. Also, beings can enter into your home and into your aura field through your mirror. This is why anciently our ancestors, they wanted nothing to really do with mirrors. If you look at because we wasn't really never enslaved like that anyway. But the few of us that would get caught and go into slavery, we wasn't in no mirrors. We looking at the water. We want to see ourselves. We're going to look into a natural source, which is water. Water also gives you a reflection of yourself, as well as metal. These are things that we place here on the planet naturally. A mirror isn't a natural thing, all right? It's a holographic world designed to keep you trapped.
To all my spiritual black folk out there, I think it's so important that we recognize that a lot of the most popular spiritual teachings out there were written by people in a place of privilege. Don Miguel Ruiz, the author of the Four Agreements, went to medical school and was a practicing surgeon prior to him writing the Four Agreements. Eckhart Tolle took a 9-year hiatus between the ages of 13 and 22 to pursue creative and philosophic interests. How do you do that between 13 and 22? Somebody is funding that. Now, this is not to invalidate their experience. I'm sure they did have depression, anxiety. They dealt with a lot of the things that we deal with. However, what was causing their depression and anxiety was not what causes a lot of our depression and anxiety. And this is not me just shitting on these books, you know what I'm saying? There is a ton of good stuff in here. However, we, especially we who are not upper middle class, have to be wary to take what resonates and leave what does not. Main takeaway, look up the creator of whatever it is you are reading, watching, or listening to, because everybody has a bias, including myself.
DNA doesn't lie, and your blood does not die. So when you're coming up out of that religion and you're starting to question what was forced upon you, it's because you are remembering, beloved. You are remembering the ways before colonization. The blood of your ancestors run deep within you. So you're coming back to remembrance of who you are. No, you're not crazy. Yes, if you're questioning why in the world you're eating the bread that represents the blood of the God you were given and, you know, all that. Yeah, you might be wondering, oh, is this cannibalism? This is what happened to some of our ancestors because they thought that they could get some of the power. And that's the reason why they actually flipped the script and the whole story that they told about there is power in the blood. Because DNA does not lie and your blood does not die. So yeah, you're remembering. Come on back home. Come on back home.
Here's a little unknown fact about Christianity you may not know, because if you did, you wouldn't be a Christian. Did y'all know that time period when Christopher Columbus was going around colonizing and doing all of those wicked things to people, he got permission from somebody. You know who it was? The Pope. The Pope. You know what he got permission to do? To enslave anybody who had pagan worship, aka Africans. You know why? Because we had our own traditions, cultures, and beliefs. Long before Christianity, you can literally look the stuff up. Christianity is not that old. It's pretty new. So anyways, that's how your black ancestors became a Christian. And I guarantee you as a black Christian have not done research as far as your black history. You might go back to slavery and that's it. But when you go before that, you go, hold up, wait a minute. The stuff we had is much older than this stuff. That's the main reason I woke up from Christianity. I realized this is not beneficial for black folks. Anyways, this tradition still carries on to this day. Why? Because if you tell a black Christian anything outside of that BS they learned in that church and in that Bible, first thing they ain't gonna say, no, that's demonic, that's evil, that's Satan. You know where that came from? Them European ancestors who came up with that brilliant idea that, we can colonize and bring our religion and beliefs and control people. And here you are in 2025, still controlled. That's how they did it. You can just look the stuff up, man. It's free. It's legal. Go and just try it.
When I went to Cameroon, the spiritualists told me to stop praying. They said prayer, the way we've been taught anyway, is begging. And in African spirituality, we don't beg, we declare and command. Also, we don't pray to ancestors because they're not gods. They are our intermediaries. They carry our messages to the divine. They've walked this earth. They know this bloodline and they stand in that gap for us. Colonialism taught us that we could go straight to God unfiltered. But in doing that, it disconnected us from our roots, our lineage, our guides. So now I don't beg anymore. I speak, I align, I let my ancestors do what they've always done, protect, guide, and deliver them.
My white professor in college explained so well why black people stayed in church for a very long time and still do to this day. So when I was in college, this white man was teaching African American history before like the 1860s or whatever, before slavery was abolished. And he was saying that he visited a black church. Now he goes to a white church. He visited a black church and he was just shocked at how long they stayed in service. And he was like, at the white church, like, we just get in, do what we got to do and get out. And through his studies, you know, because he's a professor, he learned that it was because during slavery, the slave masters would let them stay in church to condition them and get them that control over them. But you could stay in church for however long you want it. So of course I'm gonna stay in church before I got to get back to the fields. Yes, I'm gonna be praising God all day. But it goes to show you how conditioned we are, and we don't even know why we do things. They did not want to get back to the fields and stuff. Like, if I could sit in church and scream and holler all day, I'm gonna do it. But it was a part of the slave masters' plan to just continue to condition them.
So this is a little something I speak over myself because I know people are keeping an eye on me. I know that I am glowing. I know that I shine. And I know that people send me the evil eye at times. And I definitely believe in spiritual warfare. So I did get this download to go ahead and share this with people. So I would suggest that you probably write it down and speak it over yourself. So this is what you need to say. Look in the mirror and say it as you're getting ready in the morning. When people speak on my name with love and kindness, it flows to me. When my name is spoken in disdain, let those faces grow so I can see. With every word, blessings rise and growth be stirred. Abundance flourishes at every word. My name is a portal of golden light. When it's spoken, it makes my future bright. When it's spoken, my life ascends. More money, blessings come without an end. By divinity and divine decree, when it's spoken with malice, let blessings grow for me. No tongue will harm or thoughts bind. All spoken on my name is alchemized. My name is a portal. I am a golden light. Every time it's spoken, I reach higher heights. That makes my future that much more bright. When they speak of me, my life ascends. I get more attractive, more money, more blessings that never end. By divinity and divine decree, my name is sealed. It's done. So it is. I have won. Ashe and amen. Because you have to speak life over you. You know, like I said before in one of my videos, people are wishing harm on you. People see your shine. They see your glow. And they want to have it. They want a destiny swap. So no. You need to speak that over your life. Also utilizing Psalms 91 often. And then let that shit just be. Because you are protected by divine and divinity. I love you.
You had to lower your vibration just to get here. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Just to get here. Okay? So, that's a cosmic thing. If you don't have neuromelanin and carbon, that means you're not a dark matter energy being. Now, what's dark matter energy? This is the 9 ether. Okay, so when we say 9 ether, now we're talking genetics. Okay, so this is what makes us 9 ether beings. All this stardust, all this neuromelanin, all this carbon that's descended from the astral planes. This is energy. So this is a powerful thing, Negro. You see what I'm saying? This is powerful. Why do you think when they used to kill certain versions of us, let's use Nat Turner, they would skin, they would fillet us. They would fillet us. Keep your body parts, keep your genitals, keep your heart, keep this, keep the ether. But why don't human beings have that? Why is it that when black people and Latino people get in the sun, we charge up? That's genetics, okay? So these genetics is DEA. DEA. When you go past neuromelanin, and you talk about dark matter energy was formed in 9 ethers. So when you're dealing with the 9, these are the most powerful beings in the cosmos. Any beings that's in the 9 ethers or the 9th universe, right? These are the most powerful beings throughout the entire multiverse. Like, that's a fact, right? Because of how powerful the celestial rays are around this, that had to gather together to create this dark matter energy. Okay? Remember, this dark matter energy is a combination of divine feminine energy mixed with divine masculine energy in its essence. That's what dark matter energy is.
And per the usual, here come the Christians entering the chat room that nobody invited you to, being loud and wrong per usual. Sit down. Let's talk. Let me get you together while I'm gathering. I said it in one video and I must have to say it again because apparently listening and comprehension is not y'all's strong suit. We do not worship the ancestors. 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 We venerate our ancestors. We create that open line of communications between ourselves and our closest ancestors because they are our first guardians. Coupled with our ancestors is our acknowledgement and veneration of nature. Why? Because the ancestors and the nature go together simultaneously. And together, that's how we take our alchemy and we are able to wield energy to manifest or bring into fruition, however you want to use that verbiage, the things in our life that we want and we need the most. And also protection. That's what that is for. Us practitioners, we do not give the Most High Divine Supreme Being a name. Why? Because in this space, we respect that everyone who practices hoodoo does not have the same beliefs that the next person have. Unlike, organized religious systems where you have to basically be a part of a cult to be accepted. No, everyone is different and everyone can have different beliefs and still practice these things. Last and certainly not least, for those of you who like, oh, well, you'll see on your judgment day is every day. Judgment day is every day. There is not a waiting period until you transition from this life into the next where you have to sit in front of a man with white hair and be judged. But because y'all want to trade in the 42 laws of Ma'at for the 10 commandments by Moses, which, by the way, the 10 commandments was inspired by the 42 laws of Ma'at. Y'all don't understand or understand that judgment is every day. You are supposed to live in alignment every single day. There's no waiting period for this. Like, just exit the chat room. Again, y'all loud and wrong all the time for no reason. Nobody invited you into the space. We don't come into y'all space trying to push our narratives. Just,
When someone passes, you are not supposed to mourn that. You are actually supposed to celebrate the death of their physical vessel, especially if they had a very difficult life or a hard time or they were sickly. You're actually supposed to celebrate that. I want you to think of something. Drink a bottle of water and let it become empty, and then I want you to cry because it's gone. The soul and the spirit is hosted within the body. The body is not the being. It is a physical representation of that being on the inside. What a person is actually sad about is the connection they had with that specific physical vessel, because the existence of said person is so infinite and is so beyond the body. The body is what people would call a prison. It's also called your temple. It's also called your house. And when you leave out of your house, there's so much more life. Do you get where I'm going? Some of us are deemed heartless, and it's actually just because we understand this concept. We're deemed heartless because we don't go to funerals. We do not attend funerals for loved ones, friends. It doesn't matter how close we were to the being. We're not going to attend a funeral. Then some that do attend who don't even agree with attending wonder why when they get there they feel so dead. They feel so sad. They feel emotions they didn't even feel prior to even going to the funeral. They actually just wanted to support. This is why when the family gets the ashes, you go to the waters and you give the ashes and you give the body back to the waters. You return the body from whence it came. You came here through waters, right? Ashe. Henceforth, cremation. Burying the body actually makes it hard for said soul to move on. The black woman is God. She is the physical median in between the spirit realm and the physical world. She holds all authority and all keys to spirits coming into this physical realm. Unlike any other woman, she holds the genetic codes to the planet and the direct source connection to the cosmos, for she is made of all of those aspects of existence. The black woman is God. The black woman is God in the flesh, and until she is respected for what she is, the world will continue to perish and fall apart, because that is a reflection of what has been done to her. The her being the he are, the feminine, the masculine, okay, the different sectors of her that exist within the spirit realm. And every being is a different sector of her, a different piece, a different section of her. Without her existence, none of these splits would be here. Mutation genes. They're all just different splits and parts of her. You have to go through the woman in order to even come into having a physical experience. You are asking permission to come in through her portal, right? She has direct authority to tell a spirit yes or no, or if it's time or if it's not. Henceforth, abortions. To abort the mission, telling the spirit to abort the mission, you cannot come right now. Or abort ions. You can't come right now, it's not time. Need I say more?
Beware of people trying to swap destinies with you. Destiny swapping is a very real thing, and I had to learn about it the hard way. It's something that can be done without spell work, only intention. Intention, or even just a deep down desire of hate or envy for a person that person can see who they are. There's people out here that are gifted in this world, that are gifted with the sight to be able to see who you are before you can see who you are. You might be in your incubation stage of understanding who you are, but then there's people that are like you're bing, 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 and they can literally see your potential, your future, your power, your wealth, your gifts, all of that. In order for someone to attempt a destiny swap with you, they need to be close to you. They need to befriend you in some way. They need you to trust them in some way. They have to be in your presence in some way or some form. They have to be exchanging energy with you. Okay? Texting, chit-chatting, just somebody being in your energy. For example, if you have, let's say, a great marriage and a baby on the way. This person sees how much your husband loves you, and sees that you guys are starting a family, and how committed that person is to you, how that person continues to show up for you. The destiny swapper is going to befriend this person, not because they actually like that person, it's because they want to be that person. And it's beyond actually stealing your actual man and family. What they do is they meddle, and they are going to come off as somebody that has your best interests at heart and things like that. But for some reason, they're always like bringing you down, or their advice seems counterproductive to what you actually want. You see, they are intentionally misleading you in your life and your connection to destroy it. So the goal is to destroy your life. So if they can successfully destroy your life, then they can steal that energy and take on that destiny that you had as a happily married couple with a family. You see? So the successful destiny swap will be this person comes into your life, your marriage, everything falls apart. All of it's gone, right? Then you look up and this person has a brand new marriage, a brand new man, like baby on the way. Everything that you just had that you lost, this person all of a sudden gained it. Okay? And if you're not spiritually aware, you would never know that this person was manipulating energy to take from you and to leave you where they were supposed to be. They're supposed to be lonely and unhappy, right? So they don't want to accept that. And the only way that they can try to have that is to take it from you. Same thing with spiritual gifts, business success. I mean, any and everything that you could have in the spirit realm that they can see, they can try to take it by redirecting you away from it. So that, like, here's your abundance, here's your pot of gold right here, and you're walking, and this person's energy comes in to be like, hey, look over there, go over there. Oh no, you can't. Oh, what? You can't do that. You'll be so good at this. You actually would, trying to make something else look amazing to you. That's not for you. It's their shit that they don't want. So then they can come in and sneak their little ass in and grab your little pot of gold. And grab your pot of gold, baby. I'm telling you, beware. And as a grown-ass adult person, this happens a lot to children in family dynamics. Like the parents and the grandparents do it to the kids because they can actually control the kids. So they don't have to pretend to be nice or none of that shit. They can just control them and, fuck them over as they please because, karmic, toxic adults. But as us full adults experiencing this maybe with friendships and things like that, it's gonna be like sheep in wolf's clothing type of energy. It's definitely gonna be like, oh, this person's like coming to your life and it just would seem like it's gonna be a good person because they're so interested in you, or they want to help you so much, or they have, what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? Beware. There's really people out here that are looking to steal your blessings. And some of them might be able to be, some of them are better at it than others. I'll put it that way. But that shit don't work on everybody, baby. Know that.
As a mother with 3 daughters, I definitely understand this, so I got you on the money spells. But not so fast. Before we get down to the nitty gritty, y'all know it's going to be some questions. 2 questions for y'all. Before doing any type of spell work, what must you do first? There are 2 things that I want you to name. Because I have the dopest soul family on TikTok, I know y'all gonna get it. Y'all been showing up and showing out in them comments. This is honestly a great time for y'all to go ahead and test your discernment. Discernment is just another word for intuition. Remember, the prefix to intuition is in, which means you gotta go inward for the answers. You can't look in a book. I know that's what they taught y'all to do though. Trust you, trust yourself. We all vibrating high over here, so ain't gonna be no negativity in the comments. Next question. This is gonna be for my people that's been here for a minute. What is my favorite money spell to do? I'll give you a hint. There's a song connected to it that I broke down in one of my playlists. I know life is beautiful, so we have fun around here. I can't wait to see your answers. Let me teach y'all the very first abundance spell that I learned. Blowing cinnamon on the first. Now, many people do this many different ways. I'm giving y'all Yaya's way, alright? But I do want to hear if you do it different from me. I want to hear what you do. Just be easy in the comments, though. Don't come trying to school me. And see, for most of y'all, I don't even have to put that disclaimer out there. But for those of y'all who always feel a little froggy in the comments, jump right onto somebody else's page because I'm not the one nor two. Now, a lot of people that blow the cinnamon on the first are actually doing it wrong, which is why they think it does not work. Because I rock with y'all so tough, I'm going to go ahead and show y'all this time. So go ahead, grab your broom. We're going to act like it's the first of the month. Go on outside to your front door, stand outside of it, sweep the front door, the front stoop, whatever it is in front of your house, sweep it. You are sweeping away the stagnant energy. Next, grab your cinnamon. Do not make it too hard, okay? Don't make it difficult. It does not have to be a specific type of cinnamon. I just said cinnamon. This is like Aldi cinnamon. See? You see? Budget friendly. There we go. Now, you're going to put that cinnamon in your right hand. This is going to differ depending on your culture, but just remember, in Hoodoo, I was taught that the right hand sends and the left hand receives. So that's exactly what I'm going to keep following. Now that you got your cinnamon, do not miss this step. Go ahead and set your intent. Put your essence into this cinnamon. What that means is just speak to it. Tell it what you want it to do. It's going to feel weird at first because it's going to be like, what am I doing? But trust and believe it's going to pay off. When you're done with that, you want to go ahead and blow it inside of your house. Blow the cinnamon inside of your house. Okay, so it'll look like this. As this cinnamon blows, prosperity will flow. As this cinnamon blows, abundance will flow. As this cinnamon blows, peace will flow. And then I'm going to blow it into the home. Let it go into the house, right? Hey. It's like, okay. Then after you dust your hands off, you don't want to wash your hands. You want to leave it on your hands. Leave the cinnamon on the floor for a period of 24 hours. I just leave it. It's just a little sprinkle. It ain't going to hurt nothing. So go ahead and leave that cinnamon. Also, leave your worries at that door. This is where people mess up at. Leave your worries at that door, because if you don't, it's not going to work. Because if you know that it's going to work, not even believe, because remember, believe is to not know. So if you know that it's going to work, leave your worries at that door. Whatever it is that you manifested, just know that it's going to happen. So mote it be. Walk away. Yeah, go on and get to it. Stop being afraid of your own power. You got it for a reason. All about in how you use it. Before I go, I just want to say, if you an OG in this hoodoo gang, if you know, you know. What's these for y'all? Peace, love, and light, and gratitude for watching.
Spiritual growth is not in prayer and meditation. Just because you do it all the time, that does not mean you're going to grow and elevate in this life. Understand, true growth spiritually is when everything you meditated about or meditated on or prayed about, you're in that same situation and you act differently. You act more godlike. You act more of a higher vibration. It's not just in the act of praying or meditating. You have to be able to choose the other side before you chose to get better meditating. Much love.
They convince you to forgive those that trespass against you and pray for your enemies, forcing you to spiritually agree to them doing evil to you without getting karma, without you even knowing. See, we need to know how to protect ourselves spiritually, but the black church never taught us how to do that. So in order to do that, you got to know how to pray. We're warriors. You got to fight back. Stop thinking that just because you're covered by the blood of Jesus, that means that witchcraft will not affect you, because it will. So you got to know how to pray against these people. And it goes a little something like this. Judgment. Condemn those that do me wrong without cause and bind them to the pits of hell where they belong. For I walk righteous, I walk blameless. Holy Mother, holy angels, holy ancestors, I turn my battles over to thee. Condemn those who offend me or speak negatively towards me or about me. Thank you for the protection that's over my life. Thank you for the protection that's over my child's life. Condemn those who trespass against me. It is so and so be it. I decree and I declare it. Ashe.
I just want to talk really quickly about why I think every black person should have an altar. So first off, it's not just, a bunch of candles, crystals on a table or floor. An altar is literally a portal, and it's a direct line between you and your ancestors, your guides, and your higher self. It's essentially old technology. It's literally ancient, and our people have been doing this for centuries across Africa and the diaspora. And altars are essentially how we stay spiritually grounded, protected, and connected, even when the world and all the atrocities that have been done try to disconnect us. So it's essentially about remembrance and about claiming your space in the spiritual realm, just like you do in the physical. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Just start with at least a glass of water, a candle, a photo that is sentimental, or an item as well. And that's literally enough to begin with to open that portal. And the real power is in the intention. So if you're black and you're healing, manifesting, or just trying to feel whole again, I really encourage you to start that altar. It's your sacred base. And your ancestors are already within you. This just makes the connection clearer. So try it out and watch how your whole life starts aligning.
I just recently seen this video where this creator, I'll have them tagged down below if you want to check them out. They were talking about in this video how scary it can be when you learn that you have spiritual gifts or the awakening of them. And personally, I think that is such an excellent topic that is not spoken on enough. And I feel like the more people spoke on it, it would make the next generation who comes up after you more comfortable when their shit start blossoming. Because a lot of times gifts run in bloodlines, whether you want to acknowledge them or deny them. And I'm lucky I came from a family that was always open to talk about their experiences. Like, you can hear it on my podcast from like 3 years ago where I did an episode with my mom back in the 70s when she learned she was psychic. One of her first visions that she always educated me on is she seen her grandmother fall down the stairs and her wheelchair land on top of her. She told her mother, my grandmother called to her parents' house just to put everybody on alert, and less than 2 days later it came full circle. And my mom and her grandma were like that. So for a young girl who, my mom was only in middle school at the time, and if it wasn't for my grandmother, who everybody already knew had a gift, and her sitting there down and explaining it, how it ran through the bloodline, how we will skip some, it would have probably taken so much for my mom to find a type of peace within her abilities. But my grandma made it comfortable. And see, my mom always knew there was some extra shit with me, because as she always said, this bitch was born with his eyes open. But I remember as a kid, I would see shadow people, and I would always be screaming in my room. And I remember my mom be like, ho, they ain't gonna hurt you. And I'd be like, you promise? And she'd be like, hell no. She's like, but I might. And she was right. They never hurt me. And as I got older, but this is where shit started to get real. And remember, black people are sometimes naturally superstitious. And there's power in the tongue. So remember that. As a kid with certain people, I could just walk up and call out sickness within them. And the first one I happened to do it on was my grandmother. It was like 98, 99. Mind you, I'm like 5, 6, because my birthday's in March, so it comes early. And I remember I walked up to my grandmother and I just looked at her, and I looked at my aunt and I said, she's sick. And my grandma looking at me like, oh, that's news to me. And they was like, what'd you say? And I was like, Granny's gonna be sick. And as a kid, you know, when you get that big of a reaction, you like, oh, did I say something wrong? And you know, black people, because we don't want to speak shit into existence, because it can happen. And a month later, my grandmother had her first stroke. And it even goes full circle to like 19 years later, my senior year of high school, I called it the morning my grandmother was gonna die. And after it happened, what I appreciated is like my aunts and stuff like that, my mom, they all validated my experience. And that made a world of difference. And they made sure I knew the difference between mental health and spiritual gifts. And then, you know, and just in a loving way, as my mom does, she sat me down and she was like, oh, you got a gift.
You want to know why so many spiritualists are not caught up in this collective, chaotic sense of urgency? Is because we've been trying to tell y'all. 2020 came and brought all that 2020 did. 2020 like 2020 had never 2020'd before. And we had all of the lives, the conversations, the panels, the keynotes, the workshops, the services, the readings, all right, pouring into y'all, pouring sometimes from almost empty vessels, because don't forget, we were going through that too. And we urged and we taught and we channeled and we preached, we prayed, we meditated, we lit palo, we lit sage, ethically sourced, we lit camphor, we took the baths, we took white baths, blue baths, spiritual baths, spring baths. We did all of that, and look at where we are. And so what we are doing in this moment is we are nurturing ourselves first. We are protecting our energy. We are learning that it's okay to keep our magic to ourselves. And when the healing, open, discerning, aligned people who are drawn to our work come and walk alongside us, not to be ableist, but come alongside us, then and only then is when we are going to pour from a full ass pitcher. So this is not a protest account. I am no longer affiliated with social justice. My very presence is subterfuge wherever I go. The more I love myself, the more I love my God, my ancestors, the Orisha, my community, the more love vibrates throughout this multiverse, and the higher the collective vibrates. But all of this day in and day out, trying to chip away at the mountain, come over here where the water is steady dripping and we are eroding and corroding away at the base of it with self-love, with self-nurture, with self-acceptance. That is the revolution for a lot of spiritualists right now, and that's why we quiet. But best believe we're not silent.